How y'all doing? For this video I'm going to do something different than my normal reviews and such. I'm going to show off all the books that I've read in completion through over 12 years as I moved down here to where I live now. Why this milestone? Well, let me explain. I moved down in this part of Oklahoma September of 2008, and the day after I moved in, I got a job at a retail grocery store, for those who are interested. Those who know me personally will know which store that is. And after working there for 12 years, it closed down. It wasn't because of COVID or anything. The corporate owners put all the stores up for sale between two buyers at 11 locations. 7 or 8 were sold, and what wasn't sold closed down. The store I worked at wasn't sold, so it closed down. So I was without a job for 2 months, and that got me a new job, and I wanted to get settled in my new job, which is better. Just like, without telling you what it is, it's a little bit better pay. It is still within walking distance, which is an advantage I had in my last job. A little bit further, but still within walking distance, so I don't have to drive. And so far so good. And I wanted to settle in within that job before I started this video. So I started that job. My last job was for over 12 years working there faithfully. And I decided to use that as a milestone to show off all the books I have read within that time. Now, these are books, and they could be full novels, anthologies, but they're books I've read to completion. It does not include textbooks, comics, anthologies I've read 1 or 2 stories out of, or books I've read before. It's within the time frame of September 2008 to January of 2021. Now, I like to read a lot, as some of you, my subscribers, well know, but I'm not doing this to brag that I read so many books more. This is just what I have accomplished, unplanned, and what I did within that time. You may be more avid readers than I am and have accomplished a lot more within a shorter frame of time. Doesn't matter. This is just what I've done, and it's a reflection of looking back on that. I can tell you which books I have, the book I have started at that time, and the last book I have within that time frame. Everything else I can't remember the order it was in. So let's take a look. So here's all the books that I pulled off my shelves and compiled them right here, and all the ones that I've read within 12-year time period I've just said. Let's take a look right here. Okay, as I said, I know the first book I read when I first moved down here, and that is Michael Moorcock's Gloriana, or The Unfulfilled Queen. That was the first one, and the last book is actually part of Tanith Lee's Tales on a Flat Earth, from Knight's Master, and the very last one before the store closed down, Knight's Sorcery. Everything else you see here is everything I've read in between. So mostly it's fantasy science fiction, but there's also some science, and I think there's like one history book in here, as you can see right here. And that's a book right there. That's the last book I bought from the Borders bookstore in town before they closed down. One of 2. Let's see. Got some Clark Ashton Smith, Neil Gaiman. Let's see, Andrew Howard Jones. He has 2 books that are in a more Arabian Nights tradition. The late Victor Milan passed away before he got to finish this series. Let's see, yeah, God's Demon, Wayne Barlow, famous illustrator. Dark Sun trilogy. I know the third book's here somewhere, but okay, I'm going to take it back. I thought this is not one of them, so I'm going to set that aside. It was caught in a mix here, but let's see. Yes, S.M. Sterling has a couple books here. These are one of my paleontology books, and there's a stack of paleontology illustration books I have. Sorry if I can't get to them. I'm doing this one-handed here, but I did reviews on these. Of course, Gormagast series, Weird Tales anthology from Weird Tales magazine. Got that from the public library bookstore sale. All sorts of things there. And many of these are the reviews. Others I did before I even started doing YouTube. So let's see, move these aside a bit. Gotta have some Robert E. Howard. You want to go Pulp Fiction, can't go wrong with Howard. And let's see, moving along. Yes, Brom, when he started, publishing books with stories as well as just illustrations. Divine Comedy, picked that up in Barnes & Noble. We got the John Carter Mars series, all the books there, all 11 of them. few classics, Fritz Leiber, more Robert E. Howard. So let's see, a nice little anthology of dinosaur safari hunting there. Demolished Man, I picked that up because Harlan Ellison recommended that in an interview he did back at the Sci-Fi Channel way back when. Some L. Sprague de Camp, a very underrated author by today's standards. But these are not all of them. I've got this one table over here. I mean, these are all the Vampire Hunter D novels I've read that were published after I moved down here. So volumes 11 all the way to 29. I have all the others and read them, but these are the ones that I've read after I moved down here. Let's see, we got some War of the Worlds, I, Robot, the illustrated screenplay by adapted by Harlan Ellison, The Broken Sword, 2 versions of this because there's 2 editions by the same author. Castle of Otranto, because I wanted to read the first Gothic. These books right here, Wizardry Raw Romance, L. Sprague de Camp, Stodes and Numaru, Stephen Burst, The Broke Down Palace. All these I did reviews. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of paperbacks here. Got some Battletech novels. Wizard of Earthsea. I've yet to read the last 2 books of these. The Dragon and the George. For those of you who ever watched the old anime movie Flight of Dragons, this is one of the 2 books that it was based off of. You got this and the actual book titled Flight of Dragons. They combined 2 stories together. Caravan of Souls is Wraith of the Oblivion book from the tabletop role-playing game. Other books of the Earthsea series. C.J. Cherry's Sunfall is a good book. Did review. Yeah, a lot of these I did reviews here. Beyond the Furthest Stars, Bimbos of the Death Sun, funny book. Beastmaster, Lost Continent, Planet Hidden Men, Imaru. Unfortunately, Charles Saunders died in 2020 due to natural causes, not because of COVID. I think it's like the one history book I've read about the stories of Zeus. Let's see. Yes, Neverending Story, Martial Chronicles, Ray Bradbury, and The Ultimate Werewolf. Good anthology there. Poison Eater, New Monera book. One of my paleontology books. C.L. Moore, Jaril Jory, Quiden. Yes, again, for many of you who've been on my channel for a while, you notice I've done a lot of book reviews on these. Sabretooth. Good book if you want a book on saber-toothed cats. This is your book you want to go. That's a Mariko Anton, all illustrated by him, fully illustrated by him. Wonderful stuff. And that's the Great God Pan by Arthur Machen. Heroic Fantasy Quarterly, I did a review on that. Let's see, Neil Gaiman's Norse Mythology, but also these wonderful unofficial guides of certain warriors of ancient times. And on this side here, some of my more science-oriented books here. To Build a Dinosaur by Jack Horner, Death from the Skies by Phil Plait, Dinosaur Odyssey, Scott Sampson, Jurassic West, John Foster, Gorgon, When Knife Literally Died, remember this one, An Evil Guest. Yes, I did a review on this one. Another book by Prothero, Evolution and Why It Matters. The Map to Change the World is about the first geological map ever made. This was actually given to me by one of my professors for free. He just said, "You want this one?" Just, sure, I'll read it, and that did. It's very good. So you have it. And again, this is not including comics or textbooks or anthologies I read partial stories of or magazines or stuff like. These are all the novels in a 12-year period that I've read. Now, again, you may have read more. You may be entirely impressed by what all I've done, but it doesn't matter. This is just what I've done. I moved here over 12 years ago, and this is just what I happen to have done that I could somewhat measure. And a lot of you, I met some people out there that says, I wish I had more time to read. You'd be surprised what little bits here and there you can read. It doesn't have to be in long hours of sessions here. It could be during your 1-hour lunch at work. It can be 15 minutes or your breaks. I mean, I've done a lot of that. I bring my book to work, and during my breaks I would just read for a couple pages, and that's a little bit to go. And in some ways, it doesn't matter how much you accomplish. It's just, you're not comparing it to anyone else. It's just for yourself. And so it's not the end journey. It's just a journey in and of itself. So I'm sorry if I'm rambling about this, but that leads me to a certain thought. What activity? It could be books, it could be building models or painting models, miniatures, dioramas. You may be into knitting. What hobby or activity you've done within a certain frame of time that you know of, that you gather up, and what have you accomplished all in all? So again, it's and for those who are as impressed by this and wish you could accomplish this, don't worry about trying to do all this. It's not the most important, as the old cliche goes, it's the first step of a long journey, not necessarily the end result. So there you go. 12 years of my personal reading all sum up in these 2 tables here, and plus lots of other minor things aside. So yeah, thank you for listening to my rambling here. You all try, have a nice day.